it's a lot of little things that can trigger off of one event, but you see that one event through a small scope. But when you start reading other countries' history and you see mention of these other events from the perspective of another country and another country and another country, oh, you get what I'm saying? So, with all that said, we're going to jump into Benjamin Pitchfork Tillman. Now, this man, Benjamin Pitchfork Tillman, he was a senator, I believe, for South Carolina. So let's go and get into it. Senator Benjamin R. Pitchfork Ben Tillman defended racial violence in a speech before the U.S. Senate on March 23rd, 1900. Now, that year is important. We're going to give a little context. Slavery, according to, the books, the history books, at least the school books, your boy Abraham Lincoln did the Emancipation Proclamation 1865. It wasn't instantaneous and it didn't occur everywhere at the same time. So you had slavery in certain parts of the United States. Others, it might have stopped right away, but other parts of the United States, it kept going. But roughly by the 1870s, it was pretty much, for the most parts, done with. And in that same window, you had Reconstruction, where you had black people put into positions of power, mayors, governors, senators, stuff like that. And the white people in those areas, especially in the South down there, was feeling a certain way. Like they went from being the slave masters to now having black political leaders they had to answer to. So now to circle back to the importance of this speech in 1900 by Pitchfork Ben Tillman. He justified white violence against black citizens in South Carolina as a response to their hot headedness. That sounds like an old racist devil term. Tillman blamed Reconstruction Republicans for trying to put white necks under black heels by giving black men voting rights. So that sentence right there, it tells you a couple of things. He blamed the Republicans, so he clearly was a Democrat. The same party that basically backed the Ku Klux Klan. So when you hear people say, yeah, the Democrats back the Ku Klux Klan, you hear about it, but you're hearing an actual instance of a Democrat that engaged in that Klan behavior on the fucking record. So basically, our people after slavery had the rights to vote. And another thing I got to clear up, older black folks will be like, well, blah, 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 such and such, our ancestors died for the right to vote. Not really. Our ancestors died because we were voting. And this incident right here is gonna break all of that shit down. So now, further, he claimed that the election violence was provoked by black efforts to participate in the government. So by them going out to vote, that was his justification for violence in the state of South Carolina in the year 1900. Tillman denied seeing murders at elections, but admitted to the use of the shotgun in the racial conflict. So, in between the lines, when our ancestors in South Carolina went to go vote in the year 1900, these devils with shotguns, rifles, literally massacred niggas as they were trying to come out and vote. I'm gonna drop the link and all that. So any devil coming in my motherfucking comments, once again, I'm always on your ass because everything that I'm dropping is verified. Matter of fact, it's verified by the U.S. government. So you can suck a dick. He argued that the black voting majority made it impossible for white Democrats to win elections fairly. Now, think about that. In the South, specifically in this state, just like most states in the South, where you had your plantation owners and they had hella slaves. These devils was outnumbered. Not no 5-1. Them niggas might have been outnumbered 30, 40 to 1. Of course, now that niggas is free and can vote, they were going to continue to vote themselves into office. That's simple math. And this is the same math that he touches on further in this speech. Because they were outnumbered, they could never fairly vote a white person back into a position or any position of power in that state because of this large gap in the numbers, population versus population. So, if going further, Tillman asserted that federal troops upheld Republican carpetbag governments in the South. Have federal troops, I guess, in certain of those areas, just to make sure that these racist whites, even though technically they all might have been racist, but the more racist whites don't get out of hand. You know what I mean? This is what it is, and this is what y'all need to goddamn follow. These black people that you enslaved are now gonna rule over y'all, and that's what it's gonna be. So he goes on further. He says that white Democrats forcibly took back power in South Carolina in 1876. So they already had started it, I guess, in certain parts of the state already as early as 1876. He insisted that white South Carolinians felt no regret for their actions and would never apologize. So when niggas say never forget, understand these devils said they would never apologize for the murders that they did to get back into power. Tillman boasted that South Carolina had no Republican presence since 1884 due to their control. So clearly the murders and the massacres and all that wild shit was happening even earlier. He's just finally, sticking his chest out and reporting it to the president in the year 1900 when they have their big Senate hearing, Congress shit in the White House in D.C. He finally flexing on them niggas. You get what I'm saying? So he defended black disenfranchisement in 1895, claiming it was done legally through an educational qualification. So basically, not only did they start murdering and intimidating black voters from as early as 1876 leading up to the year 1900 to try to get full control of the state government's back white ran or white control, they implemented basically Jim Crow laws that made it harder for blacks to vote if they still even had the courage to come out and try to vote after seeing they people gunned down literally at these polls and all type of other wild shit. You feel me? Tillman argued that black citizens were now content and avoided politics for their own well-being. I don't need to break that down. We done terrorized these niggas enough to the point where they ain't gonna ever think about running for no fucking office ever. You know what I mean? They might have finally had a nigga run for some kind of office maybe in 1980 or some shit. But we'll dig into that in another video altogether. He reaffirmed his belief in white supremacy, stating that black people should never govern whites. He triples down on his racism by saying he claims that whites would lynch black men accused of harming white women, which was pretty much what happened nationwide to begin with. All right, so now he also goes in the same speech. He says he wished that all Black Americans be sent back to Africa and never, to return to the U.S. He requested to enter his 1895 South Carolina Constitutional Convention speech into the record. He claimed that the carpetbag era was filled with corruption and oppression against whites, Southern whites to be exact. And basically, Tillman insisted that his speech justified South Carolina's racial policies. He concluded that he would let the dead past bury its dead, signaling no remorse. His speech reflects deep seated racism and the defense of violent white supremacy in a post Reconstruction South. So, once again, I'm going to drop the source for this whole shit in the description. Congressional record of the 56th Congress, first session, 3223 to 3224. And with that said, shit, I'll catch y'all next time.